You just lay there. All right, you lay down.
She's so demanding, that one, isn't she?
Do you sometimes doubt or even minimize your own accomplishments? Do you feel that sometimes you're going to be found out for a fraud, even though rationally you know that you have worked hard to get where you are? Stay tuned to find out if the imposter syndrome treatment that I used with one of my clients recently is going to help you, because it not only got her self-doubt under control, but she's also gone on to a promotion to the senior leadership team. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tips like this. And if you click the little bell, well, then you're going to get a notification every time we upload a new video. So you're looking for imposter syndrome treatment. Well, today I'm going to give you 3 tips that are going to help you to learn to coexist with the doubt and get you feeling so much more in control of your imposter syndrome anxiety. It's worked for literally hundreds of my clients, including women who manage large teams, women with a slew of qualifications behind their names, and women who are seen as leaders in their field. I'm Dr. Suzanne Doyle-Morris, founder of inclusiq, and I have spent my whole career working with women to get them the promotions that they actually deserve. In the 25 years that I've been focusing on the psychology of professional women, I've developed 3 ways to use your fear of being found out and to overcome that imposter syndrome. The first is to think of it as a gift. Now, clearly, this is the ill-fitting gift that you don't want, in the terrible color that barely fits, and where you'd rather say to the giver, really, you shouldn't have. But imposter syndrome can still be a gift if you act on it. So my first tip is to write down 5 skills, things you got better at simply because you didn't think you were very good at them to begin with. And once you get to 5, you'll probably actually notice there's loads more skills that you developed that now feel easy and old hat, but only came to you because you focused on getting better at that skill. Imposter syndrome is a shared secret. It turns out that you are certainly not alone in your fears. You'd probably be shocked to know all these women actually have said that they struggle with the imposter syndrome. And if Michelle Obama, with her career accolades and those amazing guns, can admit to feeling like an imposter most of the time when she was on her becoming tour, then I'd say it's a secret that most of us share. Type in biggest secret club if you're a bit comforted to know that you're not alone. And if Michelle Obama can have it, then anyone can have it. Number 2, accept it is not going away. I have never met a professional woman who had no self-doubt. The goal is not to overcome it. It's simply to work around it. At a workshop I ran for professional women a few years ago, one of the delegates, a woman who was leading a science team and had loads of degrees, including a doctorate behind her, admitted to the rest of the group she felt like a fraud. I asked the group, who else ever felt like this? And every single woman raised their hand. And she cried out and she said, oh God, I thought I was the only one. Successful working women have moments and even days of self-doubt, but they still know they can make the most of any situation. So my next tip is to write down the name of someone you've admired who has admitted that they're not always confident, but based on how well they come across, well, you never would have guessed that. Remember, we never know how somebody actually feels. We can only guess based on how someone acts. So my third final tip is to own those impossible wins. Now, I grew up thinking I was terrible at maths, and that defined me for most of my life. So when I was deciding on how to collect the data for my PhD, I put on my own big girl pants and chose statistical modeling. Now, I knew it would be hard, but I knew I needed to shed my fear of maths. Otherwise, I'd always define myself as, Suzanne, she's a great talker, but don't ask her to make change out of a 20. So I worked my way through ANOVAs and t-tests and bivariate analysis, which, let me tell you, is about as sexy as it sounds. And as I now begin the daunting task of writing my 3rd book, again, my imposter syndrome is revisiting me. But I have to remind myself, you know what, Suzanne, you've done this before. And at least this time, you've already been through that learning curve. We often diminish struggles we've managed to handle in the past simply because they are in the rear view mirror of life. So my final tip is to own those wins by writing down what's been in the rear view mirror of your life that actually looked impossible before you did it. If all this imposter syndrome talk has given you some inspiration for advancing your own career, well then check out our videos and subscribe to the newsletter, because I talk about common workplace challenges all the time that women in particular face, and will share advice, tips, and techniques of what have worked with my actual coaching clients, and that can help you develop your career. So if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by sharing it with a friend, liking it, or subscribing to our channel, or sharing it with a friend that you suspect sometimes feels imposter syndrome just like you. Because the imposter syndrome actually affects most people, men and women. And if you've ever experienced it in your career, well then share an emoji in the comments, particularly one that may have represented how you felt at the time. Because if you take only one thing from this video, then remember this: you are not alone in feeling like a fraud. But let me tell you this, and if you follow my tips and learn to coexist with imposter syndrome, well, you're going to get the career you want.
Okay. I hope you didn't yawn. I bet you might have done though.